Grow with Cara show. Today we continue our interview series with successful attorney marketers. We're taking a close look at what's working, what's not, the specific steps these attorneys took to get to where they are. And remember, these are simple steps that you too can follow to get on a similar path to growth. Okay, let's dive in like we always do. Today, our special guest is attorney Andrea Sager. Andrea is former owner and managing attorney at Andrea Sager Law. She's the founder of The Legalpreneur, where she connects attorneys to small business clients. We're excited to have her here today. Welcome, Andrea. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Awesome. So to begin, Andrea, you have a unique story. Tell us a little bit about why you started Andrea Sager Law, and then how did that kind of bring you to launch The Legalpreneur?
Yeah, so I'm honestly just a serial entrepreneur, and I did not realize that in law school, but I started my first business in law school, which was honestly just selling my clothing on Poshmark, which then transitioned into my own clothing boutique. I started online, then we opened a brick and mortar store, and mind you, this is all during law school, but then when I was in law school, I got, the coveted big firm job. I thought I was set for life. I was like, oh, this is it. Like, I don't have to worry about money ever again. I was so excited. And then the first week I was there, it just hit me all of a sudden. And I was like, I am not meant for this place. And immediately that first week I was trying to plan my exit, but my husband at the time, he had just left the army and was starting to stay home with our son. So I was the only money maker, and it was basically me trying to make it work for as long as I could. And then from that first business, I had a lot of small business owners that constantly came to me at the big firm. They're small business owners. They can't afford the big firm rates. So normally I would just tell them, sorry, like, here's our rates. And then they couldn't afford it. And then finally I had a couple of clients that were like, I don't care how much it is. I just need your help. And I want help, and I want you to help me. And so I was bringing them onto the firm. I thought I was a rock star. Like, I'm a first year attorney bringing in clients. I'm like, oh, the firm's going to love me. Like, maybe that's going to be my place here. I'm just going to be a rainmaker. So I'm excited. And the firm's like, no, like, we do not want small business clients. They literally told me to my face, small businesses are not quality clients. And I saw this clear need in the marketplace because so many small business owners came to me that I couldn't help. And so, of course, I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I could just be that go-to person for them. But when you're the only one making money in your family, and we never know for sure. And so it was just scary. But then the universe was like, hey, this is what you need to be doing. And so I got fired, which got me a severance package. And I always tell people I manifested getting fired, because I used to sit in my office dreaming about being let go. And I was like, I'm like 5 minorities rolled into one. Like, they would have to offer me a severance package. And so we had already the craziest story, we had put our house for sale on a Monday. We were in Cincinnati at the time, moving down to Houston. And then Wednesday, I remember texting my now ex-husband, like, I can't handle it anymore. I'm ready to quit. Like, we have enough money to hold us over. Like, I'm just going to quit. And he was like, wait. He's like, can you just wait till we have a contract on the house? That way we know it's going to sell. And I was like, you know what? That's fair enough. Like, I can absolutely do that. Well, then Friday morning, my boss and the managing partner walk into my office, and I just knew, like, the moment they walked in, I knew what was happening. And I walked out of the office. They were like, take the weekend, and because they were like, we can reposition and retailer your position, or you can take the severance. And I was like, I am gone. So that night I announced to all my business friends, I was like, hey, I'm on my own now. I can help you with this, this, and this. And immediately I had my first client, and that was that.
Nice.
It was crazy. And so the universe was like, you need to be out on your own. And
right.
I did it.
Right. That's great. So you said you announced to your business owner friends. How did you do that? On social media? Were you calling? Were you texting? What were you doing?
Yeah, it was social media. So there was like a couple of specific Facebook groups that I was in with these business owners that I had known from my previous business. And I posted in there because I had been telling them like, hey, I think I'm going to go out on my own in a couple of months, but I was thinking like months down the road. And then I was like, hey, the day is finally here. I am out on my own. And so immediately I just had so many people interested. I had no idea what I was doing because in the firm I was in the litigation department and I wanted to work with small businesses. So, intellectual property, entities, contracts. So I literally taught myself everything I needed to know. And I knew just a little bit to get me to the next step. And then before you knew it, I had a full-blown law firm.
Very cool. And what year was this?
2018.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
it was like April, May 2018.
So it was 2018 when you sort of launched social media for the firm? That's when you were. And what were you doing early on? Let's talk about that before I can't wait to get to the legalpreneur stuff too, but let's talk about a little bit those early social media days. Which platform did you use first?
Instagram. So I had my personal Instagram, which I converted to my law firm Instagram. And so it was really Instagram and then Facebook. And it was honestly, a lot of it was from that first business, just making those business connections. And they knew that I was an attorney. And I was really just feeling the need. I'm like, okay, what do you need help with? And let me go figure out how to do it. And so that's what I just started doing. A lot of it was trademarks, entity filings. So luckily it was trademarks, which is federal law. So I served clients nationwide. And that's where it went from there. Facebook groups, and mainly Facebook groups, and then Instagram.
And then, so what topics were you starting with? Was there a time when you kind of really saw sort of follower growth ramp up? Was it, topic selection? Talk us through that.
Yeah. So what I realized early on, and then I learned this from my first business, but what I realized was that, okay, there's a clear disconnect with small business owners to know what they need. And so what I realized was, hey, I have to educate these business owners first in order for them to realize exactly what they need. So I've always been of the philosophy like, hey, I will teach you literally everything you need to know for free. I will teach you everything. And not only what you need, but how to do it on your own. Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to do it on your own anyway. So I will teach you what you need to do and how to do it on your own. And some people those that go do it on their own, great. Even if they don't use me now, a lot of times they come back. I've had so many clients that have come back after they're like, I filed my trademark on my own the first time, but it took me 6 hours and I'm never doing that again on my own. And so a lot of attorneys are just afraid to educate and quote unquote give away the meat, but clients, like your client, is not going to want to do it themselves. Your ideal client is not going to want to do it themselves. And in order to gain the trust, because wholesale sales is know, like, and trust, in order for them to trust you, which is the hardest part of that whole process, you have to educate them. And that is the easiest way to get them to trust you, is to educate.
I love that approach. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I do talk to attorneys all the time who are worried exactly as you described. Well, why would they need me if I'm telling them exactly how to do it? And you are exactly right. That is not your ideal client, right? That's not the client that you're going to want to or need to help anyways, right? And I really love your approach on social media. You really do speak directly to sort of the unique challenges, the unique struggles of small business owners, entrepreneurs. You've really kind of created this community. You're at Andrea Sager Law on Instagram. You have more than 14,000 followers. Tell us about, do you shoot the videos? Let's talk about the specifics. Do you have a photographer who does the editing?
I do it all. I do all of the videos because that's what I enjoy doing. So early on, I learned, okay, I'm only going to do what I actually enjoy doing. So for a long time, we did have an in-house social media manager. And then with the transition to legalpreneur, we let her go, but she did a good job creating content on social media. But the videos, like, that's what I love to do. Because when I started on TikTok, which has grown tremendously, I was just like, I have so much fun doing this, and I have so much fun educating, because it's really that, for me, it's that light bulb moment with the clients. They're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea about this. I had no idea about that. And that's what I love, is creating the video content. So sometimes I will write a full like social media post with a full long caption when I feel inspired to do so. But for the most part, a lot of our content on social media, if it's just a static post, whether it's on my account or the Legalpreneur account, that is done by our social media team. But videos, all me.
Nice, nice. So where are you really getting inspiration for these new video topics? Are you considering frequently asked questions that you're hearing? Are you looking at trending topics, news stories?
All of that, all of the above. So when I create a lot more video content on TikTok. I create almost every single day there. Instagram, it's not as much, because what I'm finding right now with social media is new clients are discovering me on TikTok. New clients are discovering me on TikTok. The existing clients or people in my existing audience, they're on Instagram just to keep up with me. And so on Instagram, I'm just updating. I do still educate some, but I'm not as full blown as I am on TikTok. TikTok, I will break down every little detail about every little thing. And that is current events. That is just breaking down certain legal topics and just trending audios, trending whatever's trending on TikTok. TikTok is definitely where I acquire new audience members. Instagram is where they're keeping up with me.
Interesting, interesting. Yeah, that's a good 1-2 punch. So when did you start with TikTok?
My first post, I believe, was in 2019, and I didn't really take off on TikTok until 2020. I mean, I had posted probably less than 5 videos until 2020 or until 2021, towards the end of 2020. So 2020 is where things really shook up, because that's when I left my ex-husband, went through the divorce, and that's when I was like, okay, now when I left, because honestly, he was not a fan of TikTok, and he would always make fun of me on TikTok, like doing these videos on TikTok. So once I left, I was like, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. And so I started creating on TikTok like crazy. And now we have 67,000 followers on TikTok. And by far, that's our best organic lead generator.
Wow. Wow. So you're getting direct leads through TikTok. How are they coming through? Are they calling? Are they?
No, so what I love about my firm when I had it, and this used to be on my website, was that I just work at home in my pajamas, and I never thought anything of it. I was like, that's just me. That's just who I am. And so many clients were like, I love this about you, that you're not so formal. Like, I'm like, you're never going to see me in a suit. Like, you will never, I love a good blazer, but you're never going to see me in a suit. And small business clients, like, they love knowing that, hey, I'm also a small business owner. They really just resonate with me. And that's the thing about a lot of attorneys now. You have to realize, like, who actually is your client? Who do they resonate with? Because if you want to serve millennial small business clients and you want to be an uptight attorney in a suit, like, that's probably not who they want to work with. So you really have to know, who are you speaking to? And when it comes to what was the question?
The leads that are actually
the leads.
Yeah.
So it's all social media. Nobody wants to talk on the phone. It's social media and email. My clients do not want to talk on the phone. Yeah. They will email. Normally they will DM, but I don't like to have communication in all different places. And so I just say, hey, shoot us an email. But I remember January 2021, that was really like for me, like, it personally, like, from the divorce, that was like my big, like, starting over point. And we brought in like $20,000 in revenue from new clients just from TikTok.
Wow. In what period of time?
In 1 month.
Oh my goodness.
January 2021. And that's when I was like, oh shit, like, TikTok is where it's at.
Wow.
And because I had been creating videos on there, but I had a video that went viral about how I was 29, a single mom, got fired from my dream job, and I have $1 million business. And that just like blew up. And then people kept finding me and finding me. And from there, it just kind of like spun off, because once you have that momentum, you just keep building off of it. And that's what I did. And we just kept having new clients and new clients. And that's when I realized everybody's on TikTok now, and this is where we need to be.
That's incredible. And like you said, really zeroing in on your target audience, speaking directly to them, and then staying authentically yourself as well, right? So that they understand what it will be like working with you, working from who you are as an attorney, but who you are as a person too, right?
Yeah. And I honestly, no matter what practice, I don't want to say no matter what practice area, because if you are in big law, I do not think TikTok applies. But if you are a solo or small firm owner, absolutely, I think TikTok is where you need to be, no matter what practice area, criminal law, family law. I see so many attorneys just absolutely killing it out there in so many different practice areas, and I love it. I'm like, this makes my heart so happy, only because I just feel like for so long, the legal industry has just had this like stuffiness around it. And now like on TikTok, it's like, hey, like they actually seem like a cool person.
Right. Exactly. They're a human. There's a human behind
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
They have a personality.
Right, exactly. So I'm very interested in TikTok because we haven't had too many guests who have been actually generating leads on TikTok. It seems like in the past, my guests have said, Instagram is kind of more higher quality leads, whereas TikTok, the exposure, we're able to get, more exposure, but it might not be, as targeted. But you're serving clients all over the country, right? So you don't have those geographic, restrictions. I'm sure that plays to your advantage.
Yeah, so that definitely helps, the fact that we're not limited to a certain state. But I will say, like, if you're an attorney listening right now and you're thinking, oh, well, I only, I'm a family law attorney, only licensed in one state, and I only practice in my certain town, those people are going to find you on TikTok. The TikTok algorithm is absolutely insane how accurate it is and how it will find your people. So don't think that it's not for you just because you are limited in geographical area. I have a friend, he's in Ohio. I think he's called the Hometown Lawyer on TikTok, Josh Hodges. And we always talk marketing strategies. And he saw me taking off on TikTok and he was like, man, I want to start, but I don't know, because I'm limited. I was like, Josh, just do it. Like, your people will find you. Now he's got, I think he almost has more followers than me on TikTok. And he really, for him, it's just connecting with the local community, because he does personal injury. And it's just connecting with the local community. That way people will know, like, okay, oh, I'm in a car accident. Oh my gosh, I know the perfect person for you. It's, the Hometown Lawyer, Josh Hodges. He's on TikTok. So it's just a matter of, even if you don't, because if you don't know your lead time for a client, you should. But when it comes to your specific niche and practice area, you just need people to know about you. Like, for most people, you just need people to know about you, and TikTok is a great way to get that.
That's great. Do you have kind of a top TikTok tip if attorneys are trying to really ramp up? Is it frequency of posting? Is it content? What is it?
So number one is just to start posting, because if you're a perfectionist, you're like, oh, it has to be perfect this way. Like, go back and watch my first videos. Even now, my videos are not highly produced, and I don't want them to be highly produced. But it's just getting started and then revising and perfecting from there. And then also really nailing down the education piece, because I remember at the very beginning, back in 2018, I also had a disconnect with my audience, because I was talking to them and telling them what they needed, but they didn't understand why they needed it. And now when I see attorneys posting on social media and it's just saying like, oh, this trademark package is half off or whatever, I'm like, oh, but they probably don't know why they need a trademark. Yeah. And so it's not about telling them about your sales and your deals or this or that. It's a matter of, oh, you're going through a divorce, or hey, you're getting married. These are the top 3 things you need to be concerned about when you're getting married. Or hey, how to protect yourself if you think you might eventually get a divorce. Like, maybe you need a post-nup agreement, or you're starting a business and you want to, should you get a post-nup agreement? So there's so many things that it's not about telling them, hey, we have, come to us for a post-nup agreement, or come to me if you need me to bail you out of jail or represent you for this. It's, hey, if you are arrested, like, these are the top 3 things to be aware of.
Yep. Yep. I love it. Andrea, are you shooting videos in batches? How often do you shoot?
Yes and no. So if I have a good makeup day and I have some good lighting, I do try to batch create some content. But sometimes, like, somebody will ask a question on TikTok and I look like a bum, but it's a great question and I just want to answer it, I will. Or there's like a fun trend going around. I'm like, oh, I want to do this right now. Like, I am not somebody that's like, I will only batch create videos on this day at this time. Like, I do that, but I also just do what feels right and feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you putting money into boosting posts or social ads?
Yes. Yeah. So very early on in the law firm, so I told you I had the connections with the small business owners with the clothing boutique. Very quickly, I realized, oh, I'm going to have conflicts. And so I have to branch out. And so I did 2 things. Number 1 was slowly start spending money on Facebook ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, and then started sponsoring different conferences. And that was really what helped us get our name out there, was spending money. Like, you can't be afraid to spend money. And honestly, I've gone through different phases where I'm like, absolutely, we're spending all this money. And then I've gone through phases where I was scared to spend money. And then I just like really dig into what was going on internally. But at the end of the day, if you want to grow and scale, which I'm going to say, like, growing and scaling is not for everybody. Maybe you are completely happy with where you are, and that is perfectly fine. But we want to grow and scale. Like, I want to build an empire. And we have to spend money. There's no, like, word of mouth is wonderful. It is the best marketing piece out there, and it is the cheapest. But in order to grow and scale at the rate that we want to, we have to spend money on advertising to get in front of more people. And I am perfectly okay with it. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to spend money, I just want it organic. Like, I will spend as much money as we can on ads, because I want to make sure that we are growing and scaling at the rate we want to, and we're just impacting more people.
Do you have a weekly or maybe monthly social spending budget?
Right now, it's between 3,000 and 5,000. So we just started spending money again after the transition from the law firm to legalpreneur. So we're slowly building up the ad spend. And I will tell you, we suffered a lot with the iOS 14 update with ad spend. So for those that are listening, if you don't know, there's a big iOS update last year in 2021, and it affected a lot of ads. And it was a privacy update. So it was just mainly a lot of tracking stuff that was affected. And since then, we were hit pretty hard by that, but now we're slowly building it back up. But like, what was working before is not working now. So we're slowly starting to build back up to, okay, what is working?
Tell us about the ads you were running for the firm. What was working? Were you running direct pitch ads? Were you offering some sort of giveaway or lead magnet?
Yeah, so I pretty much always have ads running in the background to the podcast, the Legalpreneur podcast. And that's just to literally $5 or $10 a day just to reach new people. And that's just an awareness ad. And then I always try to have ads running in the background to a freebie. Well, I will say back in 2021, we had ads always running to a freebie to prepare for when we were doing a bigger launch.
And it was a giveaway, a booklet or something.
Right. Yeah. So I think our best one was like our contract must-haves freebie. And now what we're about to start running ads to is our entrepreneur or business owners legal checklist. So it's like the checklist, like, hey, this is all the things you need to make sure you have covered in your business. And then that freebie we're gonna run ads to our legal protection playbook. It's a mini 3-part course. And then we will run ads to our Legalpreneur membership, which is our signature service. And so it's just a matter of reaching people at different levels. So honestly, I misspoke. We actually won't run ads to our Legalpreneur membership until probably next year, if that, because we need to get more people in the funnel on the lower end of the funnel. So more people in the freebies, more people in the playbook. And then once we have enough of that data, then we can start running ads to the membership.
And was that kind of your approach with the firm as well? Top of the funnel, freebie, and then move them through?
Yeah, exactly.
What did those steps look like?
So I will tell you one big thing that was working that's not working is webinars. I think people are just webinared out, but we were just printing money with our webinar. We were absolutely killing it. And what I think, I honestly just think people are webinared out at this point. And so that's why we create our legal protection playbook, which is our 3-part course. It's had a really, really good organic conversion. And so we've tested that organically. Now we're going to start putting money behind ads to get that rocket and rolling. Hopefully that'll perform as well as our webinar did. But we were trying to do we did a couple webinars earlier this year. We just did a webinar a couple of weeks ago, and the numbers were just abysmal compared to last year. Like we were looking at last year, like, yes, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to print this money. And we're like, something is not right here. And honestly, I think people are just webinared out. For so long, it's been webinars. And, I think, I don't know. I'm always open to testing new things, but I think we've tested the webinar enough. And another thing that it might be for us also is just not having, since we haven't spent a lot of money on ads in so long, it could just be like we don't have enough people of that second round of audience to already have the awareness of us, because you can't. So for those listening, it's not as simple as running an ad to sign up for a webinar, because people think, oh, I'm running this free webinar, everybody's going to love it, everybody's going to want it because I'm teaching them for free. It is so hard to get people to, number one, sign up for something and give you their email, but it's also really hard to get people to agree to give you an hour or an hour and a half of their time. So it's not just us running ads to the webinar, it's us running ads to the podcast and then finding out about us, them opting in for a freebie and then finding out about us. And then they finally trust us enough to go to the webinar.
It's a multi-step funnel. It's a multi-step process, right? You know, At the top of the show, you said know, like, and trust. And people want to interact with people that they can trust and that they can really, identify with. So have you ever tried or had success with a sort of direct pitch social ad, meaning, social ads that are lead drivers directly
to the membership?
Or even as the firm when you were running the firm. So, hire us basically,
You know what? I don't think we ever did. I think we had.
I see that as a mistake sometimes. Yeah.
I think I did test some ad spend when I had the firm directly to the membership. And so the membership is where clients get all access to their own attorney.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so that technically is direct. But I remember spending that money and everybody was like, no, you don't do it. And I'm like, this is the perfect product. Why wouldn't they want to sign up for this? And then I quickly realized, oh, okay, yes, they're right. It is the know, like, and trust process. And I can't ask somebody to spend, $2,000 a year on a company they've never heard of.
Yes. What about boosting posts? Do you boost the higher performing videos?
I started playing with it. I need to get, so Instagram, I did a couple, I did one recently because, so I have a book coming out in January and I had a reel that I created about, hey, do you have a mastermind? I'm booking my free legal strategy call or legal calls for your group programs, your mastermind. So one of the great things that works for us is me going into somebody else's group program, somebody that's already teaching small business owners, and then I go in and offer a legal bonus call. It's a win for the person running the program because they're like, oh, look, I have this attorney. They're going to come teach you everything you need to know about the legal side of your business. And then it's a win for us, obviously, because we're immediately known, we're immediately liked, and we're immediately trusted. And so we just have to do our job of educating them and getting them to see like, hey, this is why you need an attorney. And so though that posted really well and I boosted that, and so we are playing with that, and that actually has worked really well. I've boosted some on TikTok, but running the TikTok ads directly is way better because of the targeting, because when I boost the post on TikTok, it just ends up being these like weird men that are just like creeps.
Right. Yeah. It's not targeted at all. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the services that you're offering through Legalpreneur. I want to make sure our audience understands it because it's really unique.
Yeah, so I like to say Legalpreneur is a legal education and resource company. So we, of course, educate. We have courses and DIY services. And then our signature product is our Legalpreneur membership, which gives small business clients all access to their own attorney. And we now have our Legalpreneur attorney certification, which attorneys can go through that, get certified, and then we'll literally just give you clients. And these clients are already ready to legally protect their business. And what I love about the membership is I like to think we set the attorneys up for success, because the client signs up, and what the clients get, it's unlimited emails. They get a phone call every month, document review every month. They get contract templates. And then if we ask the attorneys to provide a 15% discount on any additional services. Any additional services that the attorneys have with the clients, it's 100% the attorneys. We don't take a cut, nothing like that. Because fee sharing is a nightmare and I don't want to deal with that. So we actually pay the attorneys when they do the phone call and the document review, and then they can keep 100% of any additional services. When the client signs up for the membership, the first thing we do at Legalpreneur is a business audit for the client. And we tell them, hey, this is the legal protection you currently have, and this is the legal protection that you need. It's a quick win for the client. And they're like, awesome, like I know exactly what I need. And then we give that to the attorney and they're like, awesome, I know exactly what to sell to the client. And so we set both parties up for success to then be introduced to each other and begin working with each other and get all that legal protection in place. And so legal memberships, not a novel idea, they exist, but ours, it's not the cheapest out there, but we put a huge emphasis on proactive protection. So I've seen so many clients that want to come to us for a Band-Aid. They're like, hey, I just need this, or I just need that. I'm like, hey, we can do that, but your membership is going to be almost double. So we do have a month-to-month, but our 12-month commitment obviously is the cheapest price. And I tell them, I'm like, we've had so many clients that have left and come back. And so I'm like, hey, I don't want you to just keep putting a Band-Aid on your business. Let's get you set up the right way from the beginning, because all the other legal memberships, they're like, hey, call us when you have an issue. Like calls are free when there's a new issue. We don't want you to have issues. So you get a phone call every month. We don't want you to have issues. We're going to set you up the right way from the beginning to make sure you don't have issues down the road.
Smart. Can you share pricing information at all?
Yeah. So right now the membership, normally it's $349 a month or $34.99 for the year. Right now it's $199 a month or $19.99 for the year. That's another thing we're testing is pricing. So is that going to be the same price? Is it going to be the same price, a couple months from now? I don't know. So one thing that I am working on is, it's not AI, but it is like a contract reader. So a lot of the clients want, they just want to, so the document review, the attorneys are manually reviewing the contracts. And that is the stickiest part of the membership, because a 5-page document, you could spend hours reviewing, or you could just like look it over and be like, okay, no red flags, we're good to go. So it's a matter of like, okay, how in depth does the document review need to be? What I want to do is take that away from the attorneys and just have our tech read the contracts and spit out the plain language to the client. And then the client knows, okay, perfect, like this is what I need. Or if they have questions, they want to negotiate it, then they go to their attorney with it. And then that's an additional service that the attorney can charge for.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that the reoccurring revenue model, the membership is it's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're marketing the legalpreneur very similar, in very similar ways as you were the firm. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yeah. Pretty much almost the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Andrea, before we wrap up, I do always like to ask if a lawyer watching only has time to adopt one, maybe two of your tips, what would you recommend?
Oh my gosh. Oh, one or two of my tips. Number one, I mean, figure out where your ideal client is. Because I talk about social media all day because it works for me. That's where my clients are. If your clients are not on social media, don't waste your time. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hey, absolutely, you need to be on social media. I don't know who your client is. But if you think your clients are on social media, don't be afraid to post on social media. And you don't have to be the one posting on social media. You can hire a social media manager. Try posting a few videos. If you enjoy making that content, make some more. And then you can just learn from it. So one thing that we're really digging into now is a lot of data around it. Before, it was a very just duct tape approach, like, oh, we'll just post here and just post that. Now we're really digging into, okay, what's working? Why is it working? How do we duplicate this? How do we make it better? So, but it's taken me years to get to this point. So number one, just get started.
Yeah, that's great advice. Can you tell us a little bit about the tracking? I'm interested in the data and what you're tracking.
Yeah, so the great thing about TikTok is they do have good analytics, and they tell you exactly when your audience is dropping off, exiting off the video. They tell you where the audience is as far as like what country, what state, what city. They tell you male, female, ages. And so we know who is actually watching our videos, who enjoys it the most, where are they located. And so that also helps with targeting for ads as well. And so, and then another thing is our hooks. So the hooks on the videos, what's working, what's not. Okay, if I think a video has really, really good content, but it didn't perform very well, is it, should I post it at a different time of day? Which I'm really not a huge fan of. Like, I don't think there's a certain time of day you have to post. I really think it's just the quality of the content. So since that's where I am, I'm like, okay, how can I actually change the beginning of this to get listeners to stay on?
Yeah, that's good. And then are you tracking on an ongoing basis and doing more of what's working, I assume?
Yeah, exactly.
So much good stuff from Andrea today. Here are the primary takeaways I see. Number one, failing to educate prospects will hold you back. I see too many lawyers, including ones for whom we shoot social videos, reluctant to explain the nuts and bolts of certain legal processes. Or as Andrea says, give away the meat, right? This is a major marketing mistake that will certainly hold you back. Remember, there's no better way to build trust than to teach, and those hardcore do-it-yourselfers, those aren't your prospective clients anyways. Number two, lead magnets are first tested organically. So before investing ad dollars, promoting a lead magnet or giveaway, Andrea first learns demand with free posts. Only when a lead magnet performs well, both in downloads and conversions, does she put ad money behind offers of the lead magnet. And then results are carefully tracked. Most lead magnets have a limited lifespan. Number three, ads are targeted using organics analytics, using age, sex, location, interests, etc. The ads promoting Andrea's lead magnets are aimed at the same people who are engaging organically. Number four, Facebook groups are a free way to getting started. So right when you have more time than money, consider responding to questions posed by members of relevant Facebook groups. To build trust, your answers need to be free of sales pitches or obvious benefits to you, of course. Many business owners have successfully started their followings this way, including Andrea. And number five, for Andrea, TikTok is performing better than Instagram. This is a first among the dozens of successful attorney marketers that I've interviewed on this show. Most have said that they get their higher quality leads from Instagram. A few mentioned that junk comments are a problem on TikTok, but Andrea has really gone all in on TikTok, posting daily there while only sort of occasionally on Instagram. This underscores the true importance of finding where your prospects hang out and being present there. Okay, thank you so much for sharing your experience. It was a lot of fun. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone be sure to join us for the next episode of the Grow with Cara show happening very soon. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.